This is Hot Mic. Hot Mic on the networks of WDAY. Here's Dom Izzo.
Hour number 2 of Hot Mic on a beautiful Wednesday morning right here on WDAY Extra, Inform.com, and KSFL in Sioux Falls. Sam Getzinger, Eric Bonnell here with you on this Wednesday. We've been talking about it all throughout the show, especially in that first hour. We're going to touch on it more as we welcome in our next guest, Matt Fetsch, the Executive Director of the North Dakota High School Activities Association. Matt, I appreciate you taking some time. I know even though the sports seasons are done, your schedule doesn't give up, so I appreciate you taking some time and joining us here this morning.
Yeah, appreciate the opportunity to visit, Sam, and always good to visit with you.
Yeah, well, I know it's been a while. I think the last time we saw each other was up in Minot at the basketball state tournament. I think that was the last time. So we're due for a good conversation. And I want to get into it right away. Your reaction on this agreement between the Activities Association and Forum Communications Company, and if you have any more details on what this means for coverage moving forward.
Yeah, it's something I know as an association, member schools, and my board of directors, something they're very excited about. Obviously, something that'll be new, have a new look for everyone, particularly next fall and spring, a little bit in the winter as well. But something that I think overall as a state will be something that's really good for kids, and that's really what we're here for.
And we were talking with Josh Ward just a little bit ago on how nice it is to have one-stop shop for all these locations or for all these athletics, because there's so many places that parents and fans can watch games. How nice is it, in your opinion, to have just one area that people can go to find North Dakota high school sports?
Yeah, I think that should be great for fans, and I think they'll enjoy that once they get used to it and figure it out. And I think the thing we're maybe most excited about is just the exposure and some of these great events that we've had, in the past that have been part of the Tier 2 contract that now in some cases will be on statewide television. And I think it'll just be events where, there's probably more people than you think in the state that have never been to a state track and field meet, for example, or some of these real large events that just continue to grow. And I think once they get exposed to it, we'll just kind of be blown away with how much talent and how much passion there is. And we're really looking forward to it.
For someone who hasn't heard the term, and we're showing some video of the sports right now, someone who hasn't heard the term Tier 2, can you elaborate on what falls under that umbrella?
Yeah, so our tournaments and television contracts historically have been titled, just for whatever reason, Tier 1 and Tier 2, and that Tier 1 historically has been the football, the hockey, the basketballs that you've seen for the last 11 years on statewide television. And the Tier 2 really is the right to produce everything else, if it's something that you have the ability to do as the rights holder. And it's a lot. I mean, in the past, we've been fortunate where we've had our state volleyball, our state wrestling, some more events at the regional levels. Periodically your soccers and baseballs and softballs. And again, just something that, timeline wise and with the windows we have, I think there'll be a lot of opportunity out there, and just something that, again, as a state, we are so unique. I know I always say every state thinks they're unique, but when it comes to television coverage, we really are in North Dakota. We've been very fortunate where we're probably pushing 60 years where it's been a kind of a fabric of our state that some of our state tournaments are on statewide television. And again, I don't know if the average viewer understands that affiliates like WDAY can only preempt the national ABC coverage so often. And they've gone above and beyond here the past 11 years, particularly since COVID, as more and more has become available and produced, where we have more on than ever. And again, I visit with colleagues around the country, and they just don't believe it when we're really the only state with network coverage of high school tournaments. And you talk about preempting LeBron or whatever NBA game is on Saturday to show high school tournaments. It's unheard of. And again, we're very fortunate.
Absolutely. And we over here were fortunate to cover these athletes in these state tournaments and even during the regular season. But you're exactly right. I come from across the river in Minnesota. Of course, they have coverage over there, but there's some states where it'd be lucky to have anything that's shown on a regional level like this, or if anything above a web stream. But you're exactly right on that. It's a luxury here that hopefully fans understand.
Yeah, you're right. And nationally, yeah, they're again, every state's different. A
Hmm.
big difference in our state is we don't have pro sports franchises that dominate some of that local coverage. At the time, FBS, et cetera, not really been part of North Dakota, and just something where a lot of times, especially throughout the winter and as we get later into the fall and spring, it's high school sports tournaments dominating whether it's newspaper headlines or the first story on the sports at night, and just something that again we've been very spoiled, and we're very happy we're going to continue to be spoiled.
Hey, take a reflect back on this last year. What were your thoughts on everything? How did it all go for the Activities Association? Of course, especially in baseball and softball, we had to deal with some inclement weather, a lot of rain coming through. What were your thoughts on this last year?
Overall, our year was a huge success. And I think going back to the fall, really outside of our state cross country meet, which was probably the worst weather we
Hmm.
had at fall, winter, or spring during the tournaments. And we had a unseasonably warm winter, which just helps everything else, helps people get to games, and the fewer games postponed, the better. And it first year of three division basketball, I think as board of directors and staff had a pretty defined plan in place of what wanted to accomplish, and then it went off, never all the way without a hitch, but about as well as it can. And WDAY was a big part of that as well. And yeah, this spring, we had probably the windiest golf tournaments we've ever had, or right up there anyway. And
Hmm.
but for the most part, we were fairly lucky in some of our other tournaments where our weather disruptions were really pretty minimal. Where I think at baseball we had about a 2-hour delay in Jamestown, and at track and field on Friday we had about a 4-hour delay one morning. But there were contingency plans in place, and again things finished on time, and that's always what you're hoping for.
Want to go back on it a little bit, and I know you've been hammered with this question ever since it happened. Just the thoughts on the three division basketball. What's the feedback that you've been hearing now that we've gone a couple of months since that's all happened?
Yeah, I think just to summarize, overwhelmingly positive feedback, particularly from our member schools and just fans across the state as well. It was very well received, and I think the kind of the ultimate, yesterday we had my board of directors was in the last couple of days, and we were visiting in a committee meeting, and volleyball's going the three division route in the fall of 25. So this coming fall will be the final year with two classes of volleyball. And a big part of the reason for a little bit of a delay in implementing that was getting through the first year of three division basketball, seeing how it went and what needs to be changed and so on. And again, the kind of the ultimate compliment is really not much, where from a lot of unknowns and a lot of educated guesses on the front side, but for the most part went pretty well. Maybe a tweak here or there to just for everyone involved, maybe a little more positive experience, but overall went great, and we're really looking forward to it here in year two.
When you may have just answered my question there, but changes going into next year. Is there anything else that you guys are looking at? Schedule changes at all to these state tournaments? I know there's a ton going on in May. Is that something that you guys are looking at, or just leave it as it is?
Yeah, in the spring right now, there's really been no
Hmm.
conversation that those tournaments and really the whole seasons kind of revolve around Memorial Day and whatever date that falls. And
Yep.
we work through that. And there's some other roadblocks in there with two major of change in the springtime. As far as winter, again, maybe some minor tweaks with some of those things. I think probably the most major change, particularly television viewers will see next winter, will be state hockey starting a day early,
Yeah.
basically going to a 4-day tournament with the girls playing their quarterfinals on day one. And it's, I've been pretty open, where it's basically an experiment, see how it goes, and if it was a good move or not. And the board of directors thought it's the best way to find out. So a few things like that, and we're probably running in maybe a few more, particularly on the basketball side, maybe a few more challenges with venues than we've had in the past, and availability and other things going on. And, to see a random tournament maybe go on a Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday like we had last year. I know we have a couple next year that just need to be adjusted because of particularly the facilities, and just kind of become more of the norm. And I don't know, it'll be interesting to have this conversation, not only in a year, but years down the road, where, you look at some of our bigger weekends tied to some of that tier 2 things, and our state qualifier games in basketball, which were very positively received. And I think there's a huge appetite for viewership with some of those, as well as attendance. And then our football semifinals, for example, which are typically some great games. And you may see maybe some changes there as far as what time those games are played, so viewers can watch more of them if they are at home that day. And just maybe a little bit of a trickle down from the college level, pro level with game times.
Mm-hmm.
But again, the number one priority is the kids, the exposure and the availability for people to watch any game they want to.
Well, if I can give you my opinion, if it involves more hockey, another day hockey, I'm all for it. That's for sure. So looking forward for that. Well, Matt, I know you're busy. You got anything for Merrick? No? I know you're busy, so we'll cut you loose. But thank you so much for taking some time. We're very excited about this agreement on the television contract for Tier 2 athletics. But we appreciate you for coming on today.
Yeah, we likewise appreciate everything you do, and look forward to seeing you more down the road.
All right. Matt Fetsch, the executive director of the North Dakota High School Activities Association, here to kick off hour number 2 of Hot Mike. Good to catch up with him. It's long overdue. I haven't been able to talk with him in a little while, but some big news there, and we'll continue to touch on that as seasons get closer and everything.
The one big thing we got to take out of that, state hockey on Wednesdays.
Hell yeah, I like it.
The girls are playing on Wednesday. Now everybody's on the same sheet.
Yeah.
And then I'm guessing, don't quote me on this, but I'm guessing they're probably going to move some of the consolation games from Wednesday. You play on usually Friday. They're going to move them all to that second sheet maybe.
Yep.
And it'd be nice to give them a little bit of a break.
Right. And like I said, if you want to expand a hockey schedule, you're not gonna make me mad.
Yeah, you'll never make Sam mad.
You're not gonna make me mad, that's for sure. If I can watch it for another day, that's all right with me. But yeah, Matt Fetsch, great to have him on. Let's take another break. When we come back, we'll continue to roll on with Hot Mike on this Wednesday morning. Do want to remind you, coming up at 10:30, Bison Media Zone with Dylan Vocal. So be sure to stick around for that.